Imhotep. It's Sunday, July 16th, 2023, and we're live. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 a.m. Superstation, WFDF. So we know a lot of people attended the African World Festival this weekend, and I've been very busy this weekend. I taught an online class yesterday. We'll give you some information about that. The screen actors and the writers are on strike now. It's the first time that both groups have been on strike in 60 years. You have 11,000 workers with the Writers Guild of America, who are the screenwriters, and you have 160,000 performers who are a member of SAG-AFTRA, which is the union for the actors. Okay, so we're going to discuss what's behind this writer's strike, and also what would this mean for content, and how does this impact African American entertainers, actors, actresses, and screenwriters as well. The second story will deal with a lot of people across the country have been praying for the safe return of Carlee Russell. Okay, and Carlee Russell disappeared in Alabama Thursday night, and she has returned home safely. Okay, it was either late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. I think it was late Saturday night. She returned home safely, and there are a lot of questions surrounding this as well. A lot of questions surrounding what actually happened. Her family and her boyfriend think she was kidnapped. WBRC Fox Channel 6 News interviewed Hoover Police Chief Nicholas Dursis after the return of the 25-year-old Carlee Russell. And they're going to wait a couple of days to interview her. She was taken to a hospital to be checked out. But we'll give you an update of what's going on there, what we know so far. All right. Then Evanston, Illinois is back in the news. We talked about Evanston, Illinois back in 2019 and 2021. Evanston, Illinois was the first city to agree to pay reparations to African Americans. This dealt with housing discrimination. And we discussed this on Roland Martin Unfiltered. There was an article from Newsweek.com that talked about Evanston, Illinois, and Evanston beginning to pay out those who qualify for this reparations for housing discrimination. Okay. Well, Rue Simmons was the alderwoman for the 5th Ward in Evanston, Illinois, who spearheaded this initiative. Okay. She has since left city council, and she is deeply involved in the movement for reparative justice. We spoke with her on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday, July 14th. So I'm going to let you hear that conversation. And I interviewed Robin back in 2021 on the African History Network show. So that interview is archived. You can watch it on our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, or on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network. I think I have it in audio podcast format also. So wherever you get your audio podcast from, search for The African History Network show. So we'll discuss that. And then also I saw this article from Vibe Magazine. Vibe Magazine has this article. It deals with a recent interview that hip hop artist and movie director and actor, producer Ice Cube did on Bill Maher's show. And Ice Cube said that record labels are promoting criminality. Record labels are promoting criminality in their music. And he said that basically the same people who own record labels also own also own prisons. So he's referring to privatized prisons. He's saying that the same people who own record labels also own prisons. Now, he said he didn't know the names of these groups, of these people, of these organizations, but he shared some good information, some good insight. Now, this is something I've been saying for years, and I've done some research on this. And I started really doing research on this when I did my lecture series, Slavery's Back in Effect, back in, it was like 2018, I think it was, right around there, 2016, 2018, which was a continuation of my lecture series, The Media's Deliberate Destruction of the African American Family. The Media's Deliberate Destruction of the African American Family. So I have some information to share on this as well, and it's deep. And you have about 6 media companies that control. Some estimates are close to they control close to 90% of what we read, see, and hear. And this also goes to the discussion that we had 2 Sundays ago dealing with the Essence Festival. Well, last Sunday, I think it was, dealing with the Essence Festival and Megan Thee Stallion's performance at the Essence Festival as well, and her sexually explicit lyrics, but then dealing with that whole genre of stripper music that has been infused into hip hop. Okay, so whatever's disseminated becomes imitated. Whatever's disseminated becomes imitated. Okay, so we'll discuss this as well, and we'll give you a preview of my 12-week online course that I teach on Saturdays: Ancient Egypt, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. So visit our website, TheAHNHistoryNetwork.com, TheAHNHistoryNetwork.com. You can register there for that 12-week online course. Now, on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man or a woman's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with current events, history, politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Visit our website, TheAfricanHistoryNetwork.com, TheAfricanHistoryNetwork.com, to sign up for our email newsletter. Okay, so I want to jump in with our first topic here, and this deals with the writer's strike that's going on right now. Okay, there was a good article from the Washington Post that deals with this writer's strike, but also one that I saw from NBCnews.com that deals with the role that artificial intelligence is playing, okay, in this. And if you remember a few years ago, we started seeing these holograms being used for dead music artists like Tupac, and I think there was one for Whitney Houston. I can't remember, but I remember one for Tupac. And you had people who started fearing then that this artificial type intelligence, holograms, algorithms, computer programs, things like this would start to replace human beings. All right. So there's a good article from the Washington Post, the Hollywood strike, everything we know and are working to find out, by Avi Selk. Okay. This is from July 15th, 2023. And in this article, it breaks down, they talk about the double strike. Okay. The double strike. Almost every performer and writer is on strike for the first time in 63 years, with A-list actors joining picket lines in Los Angeles and New York on Friday to demand restrictions on artificial intelligence technology and transformative changes to the way they work and earn money in the era of streaming, demands that major studios have showed no signs of granting. Demands that major studios have showed no signs of granting. Now, so what caused this double strike? Okay, where you have the writers on strike and the actors. So there are about 11,000 workers with the Writers Guild of America. They walked off the set in early May 2023. Okay, we'll continue this discussion on the other side of the break. Calling numbers 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600. Also, I'll let you hear my conversation, my question that I posed to Yvette Nicole Brown, who is involved in this strike as well. Listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. How's everybody doing? Share this broadcasting on social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in. Stand by. How's everybody doing? Okay, back from break in 4 minutes. Okay, we have Arlene, Kenya, just a few of the people watching. Stand by. Back from break in 3 minutes. Okay, everybody, give us a thumbs up, give us a heart, give us a like on this broadcast. Stand by. Back from break in 1 minute. Back from break in 1 minute. Stand by.
Want 9:10 a.m. is what you need. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. On the African History Network show, we focus on educating the crime and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. A lot of people don't know what the hell they're talking about. They may have their areas of expertise, but some people need to learn how to stay in their own lane. If you don't know, just say you don't know. So we have a lot to talk about, so we're going to jump right into this. Catch it all right here on 9:10 a.m. Superstation. 910, the Superstation, the oldest radio station in town since 1922.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 a.m. the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, July 16th, 2023, and we are live. Okay, the calling number is 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. All right. So right before the break, we were talking about the actors' strike, and the screenwriters are on strike as well. We're going to clip number one here in just a minute, Doug, from Roland Martin Unfiltered. We were looking at this piece here from the Washington Post, and it talks about the double strike. Okay. What caused the double strike? So 11,000 workers with the Writers Guild of America walked off the set in early May 2023 over complaints that studios are using new streaming business models to pay them less money for more work. Okay, to pay them less money for more work, slash residual payments they rely on for steady income and gut employment protections. Okay, and with the streaming models, Netflix and all these other Hulu, different things like this, the way actors, actresses, directors, etc., the way they get paid is different than the traditional model. If it's a DVD or if it's broadcast television, something like that. So with streaming services and with artificial intelligence, all this is totally new. Okay, so that's the that's the screenwriters. Okay, those that write the scripts. Then you have 160,000 actors and actresses, the performers who are on strike as well. Okay, they're members of SAG-AFTRA. This is their union. They joined the walkout on Friday over many of the same issues, marking the first writer-actor strike since 1960 or about 1963, right around there. Okay, so the unions also want guarantees against rapidly advancing artificial intelligence technology, advancing artificial intelligence technology. Some writers fear that the first artificial intelligence written TV season is not that far off, while actors are worried that studios will scan their bodies, replicate their voices, simulate mannerisms, and essentially own their talent. And this is something that we discussed with actress Yvette Nicole Brown, because if studios can scan your body and own your likeness, they will own it for perpetuity. So you could be dead and your great grandchildren could be still watching images of you, and the production and the mega corporation, they're the ones that own your likeness and will continue to make money. And they only want to pay the actors one time to be able to use their likeness and not pay them residual payments. This is what we're dealing with artificial intelligence. These are the fears that they have. Okay, so some writers fear that the first artificial intelligence written TV season is not that far off, while actors are worried that studios will scan their bodies, replicate their voices, simulate their mannerisms, and essentially own their talent. Now, the studios insist that Hollywood will stay human, but have not accepted the union's proposals to regulate artificial intelligence. Okay. Um, Now, the Washington Post said they're still trying to find out what they're still trying to find out. The strike seemed sudden, but it was driven by tectonic shifts that have been building for years behind the scenes. And they said their reporters are talking to Hollywood workers and experts to tell a fuller story of how we came to this impasse. And they're also working, and others are trying to understand how unions and studio leaders failed to reach a compromise despite weeks of formal negotiations, and how they hope to find one now that talks have broken down. So some people are asking the question, well, how will the strike change what's on the big screen and what's on television? So union members may not act, sing, dance, write, puppeteer, or essentially do any work for major studios such as Paramount, Warner Brothers, Warner, Netflix, and Amazon. Now, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos also owns the Washington Post, and interim CEO Patty Stonesifer on Amazon's board. Okay, so but only Hollywood is the only Hollywood is directly affected. The Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon, can keep filming in Britain. I don't care about Game of Thrones. I never watched that stuff. I see medieval fantasy, all that. I don't watch that. Okay, now the last major Hollywood strike by writers was in 2007. And it helped fuel the rise of reality television. I remember when this happened. Helped fuel the rise of reality television. And studios found ways to keep producing content without scripts. Okay, and a lot of that content was not good when the writers were on strike either. I just want to tell you. We don't know what ideas the executives will come up with to prevent this strike, but we expect they'll have some. You're going to see more reality TV shows. You're going to see more black women acting a fool, pulling each other's hair out. You're going to see more trashy reality TV shows dehumanizing African Americans. Okay, more love and hip hop, all type of nonsense like this. Now, the strike also bars actors and actresses from not only performing, but also promoting their various upcoming projects, which is throwing marketing plans for upcoming movies into chaos. So they're looking at Washington Post and others are looking at what the plan B is to roll out summer blockbusters like the movie Oppenheimer with no A-listers on the red carpet. So all this, the red carpet, the red carpet walks, all this stuff, all this promotion has stopped for all these movies, TV shows. They can't do interviews promoting. They can't do interviews promoting their movies, etc. Okay, so this is having a huge impact. All right, now we discussed this on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday, July 14th with Yvette Nicole Brown, actress Yvette Nicole Brown. Let's go to that interview, Doug.
Well, speaking of a mess, it is a massive mess out in Hollywood where SAG-AFTRA, the Union of Actors, they are now on strike, joining the Writers Guild of America. They were on strike beginning at midnight. They've been angered by many of the folks there, the studio heads, who claim that the WGA as well as SAG, that they simply are asking for too much, that they're being greedy, if you will. Now, these are the same studios that pay their CEOs anywhere from $27 to $200 million. We're talking about a significant amount of money, but they want the writers to be able to, frankly, take less. One of the things that's also crazy is one of the proposals dealt with the issue of AI, where they want to be able to use AI and then use an actor's likeness in perpetuity and never have to pay them.
Okay. Just that was, what is that? Okay, we're coming up on the break. All right, we'll continue this on the other side of the break. Listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation WFDF. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number. If you have a question or comment on Michael Imhotep, we'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. Back from break in 4 minutes. Stand by, everybody. Back from break in 3 minutes, everybody. Get us broadcasting on social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in. Stand by. Stand by. Back from break in 2 minutes. So we're gonna start at.
Ben, how you doing? Many of the folks there, the studio heads, who claim that the WGA, as crazy is, one of the proposals.
Start at 39:30. Back from break in 1 minute. Stand by, everybody.
What? 910 AM is what you need. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. On the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. A lot of people don't know what the hell they're talking about. They may have the ears and expertise, but some people need to learn how to stay in their own lane. If you don't know, just say you don't know. So we have a lot to talk about, so we're going to jump right into this. Catch it all right here on 910 AM Superstation. The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 910 AM Superstation or Adele Media.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, Future Radio. All right, calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. Okay, I want to go back to our story from the top of the hour, and I was sharing this excerpt from Roland Martin Unfiltered with you when I was on Friday, July 14th. Let's go back to the clip, please, Doug.
One of the folks is on the board of SAG-AFTRA, actress Yvette Nicole Brown. She joins us right now. Roland Martin Unfiltered. Yvette, how you doing? Good to see you. So here's the deal. There's somebody sitting out there right now watching, and they have it in their minds, oh, man, these actors, they make a ton of money, not realizing that at any moment, 98% of the actors out there ain't employed. We're talking about healthcare benefits. We start talking about residuals. We start talking about, and now how streaming has changed the game. You used to have a network show. You would get a full season, 22 episodes, and then all of a sudden, now you look at a lot of these streaming shows, they're 8 to 10, and so the economics has changed, and frankly, the opportunities are drying up for a lot of people. So explain to the folks why SAG-AFTRA is joining the WGA to go on strike.
Well, you hit a lot of it on the head right there. Once streaming happened and we have these shorter seasons, you can imagine as a writer or an actor, you might do 8 to 10 episodes. And then you have like a stretch of like 8 to 10 months where you're doing nothing. So there's no money coming in. You get money when you work. If you're not working, you don't get money. Now, what used to save us back in the day is that reruns would happen, and be able to watch Different World again, in the summertime, and you get money that was almost equal to what you made when you did the show originally. The residuals are gone. So people are now signing up to do a show. They do their 8 to 10 episodes, then they don't work for 6 to 8 months, and then they're also held exclusively by that streamer or that network. So now I can't work anywhere else. I can't make any money, and you're not paying me any residuals. And then so that affects my health care. That affects everything. And people think that just because someone's on television, they're rich. It has never been the truth. Now, there's some people, the people that are the multimillionaires and the A-listers, they doing all right. But this is about the 98% of us that are not working all the time and what can be done to help them. I'm of the mindset that I'm my brother and sister's keeper. It's not okay for me to feel okay if y'all not okay. Now, I wish the producers thought like that, because as they take their millions and buy their yachts and go on their fancy trips and have their interviews on meadows of green, acres of green, they aren't thinking about the people that may not be able to pay for their children's school, or may not be able to pay for their health care, or may not be able to pay the rent. And then that quote that came out, that one of the producers basically said that their goal is to choke us out until people lose their apartment and their homes. That is so inhumane. It's inhumane. At what point is enough enough? How much money? They literally said, for the folks who are watching and listening, they said, hey, we wait 3 or 4 months, we can starve them, and they're going to begin to lose their apartments and their homes. Yep. Now, these are the people that we're negotiating with. What I loved about what our president, Fran Drescher, did yesterday is she just literally told it like it is. And she literally called it what it is. It is inhumane, it's disgusting, it's evil. The thing is, how can you be in this industry and know that you're doing well and not care that other people are suffering? I don't understand it. I mean, we see it, of course, in politics as well. There's a group of people that want to help everybody, and there's a group of people that's like, well, I got mine, get yours. It's not fair. And this is the thing. You don't have an entertainment industry if you don't have actors and writers. You don't. So I don't know where they think all this magical money they love is going to continue to come in if they don't have the people writing the stories, creating the world, and then actors coming in to perform those pieces. It's so short-sighted. And we're upset. We're mad. And we're ready. And the WGA is with us. We're with them. And it's like, bring it. I was out on that, sorry, that's my dog sneezing. I was out on the picket line today, and everybody's like, let's do this. If they thought they were breaking us, they're wrong. We're energized, and we're ready.
Don't let toxins build up in your body.
Okay. It's a commercial playing right there. So hey, Doug, stop. Pause it right there. Pause it right there. Let's go to the phone lines quickly. Let's go to O'Neill, line 1. O'Neill, welcome to the African History Network show. Tell us where you're calling from. Thanks for holding.
Yes. Michael Imhotep. O'Neill, Huntington Woods, Michigan. Listen, Michael, this is, every entity has its drawback, right, Michael? Every entity. Now, Hollywood's having its drawback. Everything has its. Also, Michael, listen, does that affect Broadway? Broadway, with a place that's going to be shut down?
No, I don't think that affects Broadway.
Okay, then we're going to take.
I think
Broadway, just movie industry.
Yeah, movie industry, TV movies. It affects that.
Okay, Mike. I got me a good show. You explaining it all. Keep up the good work.
Okay, all right. Thanks for calling. Then also we have, we're going to go back to this clip here in just a second. We have JT line 2. Let's squeeze JT in. JT, welcome to the African History Network show. Tell us where you're calling from.
And Mr. Imhotep, you got to deep in the Atlantic. Explain. You do it deep in the Atlantic. You know how that already goes. You already know that, right?
Say that again. What did you say?
Excellent, deep in the Atlantic. Excellent, deep in the Atlantic,
Okay.
The
Yeah, explain.
Excellent.
Yeah, I can hear you. You said the X Clan?
Excellent. Deep in the Atlantic. Back in the day, they said deep in the Atlantic.
Okay.
And back in the day.
All right, go ahead.
When you get, what's all this? You know what time it is. I mean, I'm leaving alone. And then the future sailing on ship and doing whatever. And doing, hey, I'm moving along. And then you're great. You're great. It's great.
Okay. All right. Thanks for calling. Okay. Doug, we're gonna pick up that clip at the 44:30 mark. Okay, so just queued up at the 44:30 mark. That clip, we'll pick it up there. Okay. Roland Martin and
these are shows that are not being streamed a lot, so therefore it's costing us money. I'll give you a perfect example. Last year, when Showtime had their series on Uber, I was watching some other shows and never got around to it. So the other day, I was like, "Man, let me pull up my Showtime app and look at the show." Wasn't there. I was like, wait a minute, this was a series a year ago. This wasn't like 5-10 years. So then I go to Google, type in, like, where's this series? Like, where is it? Can't find it. It's been pulled off the Showtime app. Now, if you want to watch it, you can buy it other places. And I was like, wait a minute, for something that's a year old, that was a several-part series, that was crazy to me. So that means that if you start in that, if you were one of the writers, if you were one of the producers and directors, you're not getting residuals from the airing of that show because it's been pulled.
Yeah, but Roland, it's deeper than that. At least you were able to find it, to buy it. There are shows that are being pulled that never made it to DVD. They never made it to another streaming network. Like sometimes things will air on one network and then a streamer will pick it up or go into syndication. So, or the DVD will come out. You can buy it and get it another way. I have a show. We're on a show called Big Shot on Disney Plus. We did 2 seasons. And Big Shot no longer exists in the world. It's not on DVD. It's not streaming on Disney Plus. It is literally gone. So that means the hair and makeup people that did work on that, the wardrobe people that did work on that, the directors that did work on that, the people who wrote those episodes, and it was the first episode produced for them. There is no place in the world you can find that work now. It's gone. It just happened on Paramount Plus with The Game. The Game is being pulled off of Paramount Plus. There's been a lot of shows like that. And so I think also there should be a fight about where can I find my work? This is what I put my heart and soul into. And that means if I ever want to do a reel to show what I did when I was in a drama with John Stamos, how am I going to do that? This is serious. It's a complete disrespect for the creative artist. Completely. Be they makeup, hair, wardrobe, props. No, there's no love. And this is another thing someone else mentioned to me. Back in the day, the studio execs used to be people that moved up in the ranks of entertainment. And now they're like Wall Street people and investment bank people. These are people that are bean counters, and it's really the bottom line of what kind of profit they can then send to their shareholders or their CEOs. And it's like it stops being about the art, that we've lost the heart of the art.
Okay, pause it right there. That was actress Yvette Nicole Brown. And she was speaking with Roland Martin, and I was on Roland's show also. When we come back, I'm going to let you hear the question that I had for Yvette. This is about the actors and screenwriters strike. Listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep, 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF. We'll be back in a few minutes. Bathroom break in 4 minutes. Stand by. Okay, who still needs to register for the 12-week online course that I teach on Saturdays and Sundays? On Saturdays, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. We deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. Visit our website, TheAHNShow.com, TheAHNShow.com. We have the information there. We'll also discuss it some on the show today. We'll talk some about the class that I did Saturday. Stand by. Okay, back from break in 3 minutes. Back from break in 3 minutes. Stand by. Okay, well, we're going to start this. Back from break in 2 minutes. Back from break in 2 minutes.
Network show we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. A lot of people don't know what the hell they're talking about. They may have the area of expertise, but some people need to learn how to stay in their own lane. If you don't know, just say you don't know. So we have a lot to talk about, so we're going to jump right into this. Catch it all right here on 910 AM Superstation.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, the Future Radio. All right. So right before the break, we were talking about the Screen Actors Strike and the screenwriter strike and the actors on strike as well, and they have joined forces. All right. Doug, we're going to pick this up at the 44:30 mark, if we can. 44:30 mark. So we were speaking with actress Yvette Nicole Brown, and this was from Friday, July 14th, Roland Martin Unfiltered. We don't know how long this strike is going to last, but this is something very serious. Okay, let's go back to the clip, please, Doug.
These are shows that are not being streamed a lot, so therefore it's costing us money. I'll give you a perfect example. Last year, when Showtime had their series on Uber, I was watching some other shows and never got around to it. So the other day, I was like, man, let me pull up my Showtime app and look at the show. Wasn't there. I was like, wait a minute, this was a series a year ago. This wasn't like 5-10 years. So then I go to Google, type in, like, where's this series? Like, where is it? Can't find it. It's been pulled off the Showtime app. Now, if you want to watch it, you can buy it other places. And I was like, wait a minute, for something that's a year old, that was a several-part series, that was crazy to me. So that means that if you start in that, if you were one of the writers, if you were one of the producers and directors, you're not getting residuals from the airing of that show because it's been pulled.
Yeah, but Roland, it's deeper than that. At least you were able to find it, to buy it. There are shows that are being pulled that never made it to DVD. They never made it to another streaming network. Like sometimes things will air on one network and then a streamer will pick it up or go into syndication. So, or the DVD will come out. So you can buy it and get it another way. I have a show. I was on a show called Big Shot on Disney Plus. We did two seasons, and Big Shot no longer exists in the world. It's not on DVD. It's not streaming on Disney Plus. It is literally gone. So that means the hair and makeup people that did work on that, the wardrobe people that did work on that, the directors that did work on that, the people who wrote those episodes, and it was the first episode produced for them. There is no place in the world you can find that work now. It's gone. It just happened on Paramount Plus with The Game. The Game is being pulled off of Paramount Plus. There's been a lot of shows like that. And so I think also there should be a fight about where can I find my work? This is what I put my heart and soul into. And that means if I ever want to do a reel to show what I did when I was in a drama with John Stamos, how am I do that? If this is serious. It's a complete disrespect for the creative artist. Completely. Be they makeup, hair, wardrobe, props. There's no love. And this is another thing someone else mentioned to me. Back in the day, the studio execs used to be people that moved up in the ranks of entertainment. And now they're like Wall Street people and investment bank people. These are people that are bean counters, and it's really all about the bottom line and what kind of profit they can then send to their shareholders or their CEOs. And it's like it stops being about the art, that we've lost the heart of the art. And that's why we're in this situation where we're like, don't you understand that you don't have a business without us? And why would you be okay making money and not sharing the benefits of what we create?
Okay.
Hold tight 1 second. I got to break. My panel got some questions as well. Folks, we'll talk.
Doug, stop the clip. Pause it right there. All right. Okay, let's go to, we're going to go to clip number, that'd be clip 2. And I got a chance to ask Yvette Nicole Brown a question. Let's go to clip 2, Doug.
It is the first time that they've been on strike in 26 years. Let's go to our panel. Michael Imhotep, your question first, Yvette.
Hello, Yvette. Thanks for coming on. Also, great interview with Joanne Reed. I've been following this, and one of the things that I'm hearing is that one of the things that the actors and screenwriters are fighting for is a greater piece of the pie when it comes to content that's on the streaming services now, because the way the contracts are, the way the payouts are when it comes to streaming is entirely different than it was traditionally. Can you give us more insight into that? And also, a lot of the streaming companies are saying, maybe like Peacock and some of the other streaming companies are saying they're not making a profit as well. Can you talk about that, please?
Yeah. Well, first of all, everyone saw how great Netflix was doing, and everyone raced into the streaming landscape before they knew how to do it their way. So there are probably a few that are not making a lot of money, but that's not all of them. That's first. Second, what happens with our contracts is that the producers come up with a new way to make money. Maybe back in the day it was DVD, then it was streaming, and now it's AI. And what they do in the contract negotiation is they go, DVD, I don't know if it's going to do anything, right? So they tell you that in the negotiation. You go, okay, well, for the first 3 years, we'll give you, you can pay us less than you would pay us for network, because we don't know what this streaming is going to do, or what this DVD is going to do, or what this AI is going to do. Forgetting that they absolutely know that it's going to be lucrative, because they wouldn't chase anything unless they know there's money there, right? So we fall for it, and we've fallen for it a few times. So what we realize now is they're trying to do the same thing with AI. Now, what happened with streaming is that they said, well, we don't know if it's going to be profitable, so let's pay you a little bit less than we would have paid you. Well, that fee structure is now set in steel, right? So now every year, as they made some of these streamers have made record profits, we're still getting 10 cents on the dollar or whatever the number is. I don't know what the exact number is, but we're getting a lot less than what we should be getting. And then they go, well, you agreed to it. So I don't know, going back and changing it now. So now that we've learned that that's how they do it, we're like, we're not going to let you do that this time. We know that AI is going to make you a lot of money somehow. So we need something in place now to protect us, to make sure that we don't do what was floated, where they wanted background actors to have their entire body scanned, likeness, face, all of it, which means they now own that person's entire likeness, and they can plug that person in scenes or anywhere else they want to in perpetuity. Their children's kids will be dead, and they still will see grandma walking around carrying a Target bag in some show.
Okay, pause it right there. We'll continue this another side of the break. Listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Back from break in 4 minutes. Okay, back from break in stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. Okay, give us a thumbs up, give us a heart, give us a like on this broadcast. Bathroom break in 3 minutes. Bathroom break in 3 minutes. Stand by. Bathroom break in 2 minutes.
Of Adele Media. If great programming is what you want, 9:10 a.m. is what you need. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. On the After History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. A lot of people don't know what the hell they're talking about. Then they have the areas of expertise. But some people need to learn how to stay in their own lane. If you don't know, just say you don't know. So we have a lot to talk about, so we're going to jump right into this. Catch it all right here on 9:10 a.m. Superstation. The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 910 AM Superstation or Adele Media.
Welcome back to the African History Network show. All right. I want to go back to this clip. Yvette Nicole Brown was answering my question. Let's go back to the, let's see, hold on. Let's go back to the clip, please, Doug.
That's ridiculous. And we want to pay them the day rate. They want to pay you once and use you forever. And this is the thing. There are certain people that have reached a level of their career that they can negotiate out of that. But again, it's not okay. I'm not okay that I can negotiate it if the person starting in this industry or the person that hasn't made it to my level can't negotiate their way out of it. Because what they tell them is, well, we don't really need you. We'll get somebody else. And then there'll be somebody else that will say yes. You see what I mean? Like they have you against the barrel when you haven't become a name or you haven't become famous in some way. And we want to make sure the contracts protect everybody, not just the people that can negotiate their way out of these little traps.
And the point there you make is that there, when you talk about the contract, when they are locked, they are going to hold you to that contract.
Absolutely.
I just finished watching on Netflix the documentary, the docuseries on American Gladiators, and they talked about on that show where the folks who were the gladiators and how they were getting $500 a show. They were incurring injuries. They had a national tour, 120 city tour. They were selling toys, merchandise, all sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. And the gladiators were like, yo, we make the show. And Sam Goldwyn, who they were doing the show, they were like, absolutely not. We are not renegotiating. You signed the contract, and that's what you get. And they fired some of the original gladiators. And that's how they run. So this whole idea, so when somebody tells you, no, just go ahead and sign, we're going to look at it later. No.
Don't do it.
You better get into why because and then they're going to negotiate downward from that deal in the next deal.
Yep. And this is the thing, too, that I don't know that people... I started out as a legal secretary. I don't know if people know that, but I was a legal secretary by trade before I became an actor. What people don't understand is that there's no such thing as boilerplate. Or this is just what we do. They'll say that. Everything in a contract can be negotiated. Every single thing. So don't fall for, well, this is just how we do it. No. We're going to do it different in this one. We're going to change this for me. And I think people don't have the understanding that they can do that. And sometimes the business affairs officers are so strong. We got to get it today. If we don't get it today, breathe and get the deal that is right for you. And that's if you're able to. If you reach a point in your career where you can. There are a lot of people that can't do it. They're just not at the place where they can do it yet. And again, that's why unions are there.
But even if you're a big name, Don Cheadle talked about this here. I forgot I guess it was one of those Marvel, whatever the hell. Mm-hmm. And he had his child's birthday, and they were like, "You got an hour." He was like, "I got an hour?" And he was like, "This is Don Cheadle, Academy Award nominee." And it was like, "Okay, fine, your daughter's birthday, fine. We'll give you 2, but we need an answer." And he had no choice but to say yes, because they were really like, we will move on. And remember, that was a role when he replaced Terrence Howard.
Yeah. And this is the thing too, though. I believe in this in regards to contracts. And you can't do it all the time, but sometimes the no is very powerful. If you got an hour to do it, then that means you ain't got nobody else either. Whoever you're going to go to next will have 30 minutes, and they might not say yes either, so you actually need me. So I'm going to take this 5 hours to figure out if this is the right deal for me, right? So I get it. Like, it's tough. It's tough, and that's why it's important to make sure that as unions, we fight so that people don't have to fight so hard. But, yeah, it happens every day.
Okay, pause it right there. All right, so that was actress Yvette Nicole Brown. We spoke with her on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday, July 14th. Go to Roland's YouTube channel. You can watch the full show, Roland Martin on YouTube. Okay, let's go quickly back to the phone lines. Doug, I think we had, was it Faye? Faye.
Yeah, Faye.
Yeah.
Listen, I have 3 questions. First question is it similar to what Dave Chappelle talked about when he had the special when he said that they owed his name in perpetuity? And that's the first question. The second question is, can people drop some of the program?
Faye, let's take your questions.
Would that help them?
Let's take your questions one by one. When Dave Chappelle was talking about owning for perpetuity, so it's similar. He was talking about the Chappelle show, and he was talking about, if I remember correctly, when the Chappelle show started. He did the Chappelle show years ago, but then they started streaming the Chappelle show also. Okay. It was on one of the platforms, Netflix or something like that. They started streaming the Chappelle show, and his original contract when he did the Chappelle show didn't include revenue from streaming because streaming didn't exist back then. Okay, so it's yeah. Go ahead with your next question.
Okay, the next question is, what can we do if we drop some programs? Like, what if a lot of people just drop Netflix and drop the other? Would that help?
It may put pressure on. It'll probably put pressure on Netflix or Hulu or different things like this, and the execs will see those responses, and it could probably push them towards coming to an equitable deal for the actors and screenwriters when they start seeing people supporting them. Now, I haven't, as of yet, I haven't heard any of the actors and actresses or those like on the board of the unions say cancel, your streaming services. I don't know. Maybe it will come to that.
They might be reluctant to say that. You know that. They may be reluctant to say that. I think it's up to us out here to say it, because they may be reluctant, because those people are dirty. They're very dirty. They make people sick, physically and mentally. So we know that they're dirty, and they're not going to be easy to deal with, especially for the actors and writers and stuff. They're probably reluctant to say that. But is there an organization, is there a group of people that you can join that are trying to do something to help them?
I don't know about that. I would say follow these stories
Okay.
and see if they talk about the in there. But you have actors like Fran Drescher, she is the head of the actors union. Okay, she's been very outspoken. So it may come to that where you have some that say cancel certain streaming services. Okay, what's your last question? 'Cause we're coming up on
Okay. Well, thank you very much, brother, and keep on doing your good work. We really count on you. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Okay. All right, calling number is 313-778-7600 if you have a quick question or comment. All right, we're going to go to this next story. We're going to clip number 3, Doug. Okay, so Carlee Russell disappeared on Thursday in Alabama, and she returned home safely early Saturday morning. They talked about it on, we're going to clip number 3. They talked about it on Good Morning America. That was Good Morning America from Sunday, July 16th, 2023. Let's go to clip number 3, Doug.
So we do start this half hour really with great news for the family of that young woman who went missing following phone calls to say she was stopping along the highway to help a toddler she spotted. Police say Carlee Russell is back home this morning, and ABC's Morgan Norwood has more on what we know right now. Morgan, this case was unbelievable. So many people wondering what happened to her.
Yeah, good morning. Lots of questions, right? And you can imagine the shock, even relief from her family this morning. Police say Carlee Russell returned home overnight and was taken to the hospital for evaluation. And though she is safe, the mystery surrounding her disappearance is deepened as police work to determine where she was for those 2 days and what happened. This morning, after a frantic 48-hour search, police now say 25-year-old Carlee Russell has been found. The Hoover Police Department says Carlee had been taken to a local hospital overnight for evaluation. According to reports, Russell showed up at her family's front door. This news coming on the heels of an exhaustive statewide search that rocked this community. Detectives in Hoover, Alabama, standing out across the city. Flyers on nearly every corner after parents, Talitha and Carlos Russell, pleaded for the safe return of their daughter, missing since Thursday night. We were able to sit down with Carlee's parents before she was found, where they told us about their grueling search for their missing daughter.
It's a struggle, and sometimes you're numb, and sometimes the tears just flow. We probably have had 2 hours of sleep in the past 2 days.
Carlee's parents say they last spoke with her around 9:20 Thursday night when she called to let them know she was headed home from work. But 10 minutes later, Hoover police said she called 911 around 9:30 to report seeing a toddler walking alone on the side of Interstate 459. Soon after, Carlee makes another phone call, this time to her brother's girlfriend, who told Carlee's mother she overheard Carlee trying to help the child.
She was asking the child if they were okay from what my son's girlfriend could hear on the phone. She never heard a child say anything, and she heard my daughter scream, or what sounded like a scream.
Carlee's parents say they were able to track her location, but appeared to a street behind I-459. When police went to the spot along the highway where Carlee called 911, they say they found Carlee's car with the door open, her keys, cell phone, hat, and wig all nearby, but no signs of Carlee or the toddler. As part of the investigation, police say they're now looking into this video from the traffic cam archive, appearing to show the moment a car pulls over on the side of the road. Over the weekend, the community throwing their support behind the Russell family, from prayer vigils to search parties, even celebrities rallying for Carlee's safe return.
Words can't really describe how it feels to know that the community really has our back.
And millions this morning continue to rally behind the family, joining them in that relief that Carlee has been found. This morning, though, it is unclear how Carlee returned home, but police do say that she was alone. Gio?
But all of us are glad, of course, that she is safe. Thank you so much.
Okay, pause it right there. All right, let's see here. So many questions are unanswered. There was one of the first articles we posted about this was from WBRC Channel 6 out of Alabama. They have an update to this article. Hoover police released new details after Carlee Russell returns home. Carlee Nicole Russell, a 25-year-old African-American woman who's 5'4", 150, 160 and resides in Hoover, Alabama, was reported missing on July 13th. That was Thursday, July 13th. So Sunday, July 16th, 2:17 p.m., they have an update. Hoover police released new details regarding the return of Carlee Russell. Regarding the return of Carlee Russell, quote, since the time of the 911 call at 9:34 p.m. July 13th, Thursday, the Hoover Police Department has expended every available resource into locating Carlee, and we celebrate with the Russell family on her return at approximately 10:44 p.m. on Saturday, July 15th. Now, Hoover police have worked to retrace Carlee's actions from the time she left the colonnade until she called 911. And they say they are working on completing that task. At this point in the investigation, investigators have not been able to locate anyone with Carlee from the time she left the colonnade until the 911 call was made. Okay, we're coming up on a break. We'll continue this on the other side of the break. Listen to the African History Network show, 9:10 a.m. Superstation, WFDF. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by.
The best deal. We know the COVID-19 rules. Call us and never speak to the IRS again.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours. The virus has caused the IRS to take extensive action to help taxpayers. So if you owe $10,000 or more, this is the best time in years to settle your tax debt. I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owe. Remember, the IRS will not give up until you pay. 800-683-9499. 800-683-9499. 800-683-9499. The Word Network has been broadcasting inspirational messages around the world since the year 2000. And we keep getting bigger and better and more innovative. Seen all around the world, we bring you the best teaching, impartation, singing, and inspiration. If you want original programming, we have that too. The Word Network is your exclusive source for all things inspiration. And we can be found on every device imaginable. If you want to be uplifted and inspired, you need the Word Network.
My 38 is offering a great special that cannot be refused. Are you looking for a great deal of TV advertising? Are you searching for an avenue to get your business name out to the public? With My 38, we are offering a great special with 100 commercial ads for a great price. This offer is for a 30-day ad placement. Please contact FNC for more information at 248-357-4566. Or email at d.c.alhoun@thewordnetwork.org. This excludes political ads. Have you thought about a ministry program with the 910 a.m. Superstation? Want to expand your personal ministry or broadcast part of your service? We have prime radio time available now to expand your ministry. Call us and ask for Henry. 248-357-4566. Tell the story of your church. Tell the old story on 910 the AM Superstation. Call Henry at 248-357-4566. A modest investment is requested. The all-new 910 Superstation is your number one for urban talk radio. If you're looking for the best in radio programming, look no further. You can now listen in on a multitude of audio platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Listen Notes, and coming soon to Amazon Music, Goodpod, and Overcast. 910 AM Superstation, the largest, strongest, 50,000-watt urban radio station in town.
The most powerful voices in the African American community are all right here on the new 910 AM AM radio superstation.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here, 910 AM Superstation, Future Radio. Okay, let's go back to the story quickly, then we'll go to the phone lines. I'm trying to fix the audio running through my mixer as well. I think I may have to buy a new mixer, which I really don't want to have to do. I just bought a new laptop. But okay, this deals with the return of Carlee Russell, and there's still a lot of questions that have to be answered. So there was an update from WBRC Channel 6 out of Alabama, and they also had this article that came out after the initial article. And this one is entitled, "We Wanted Her to Come Home Safe and Sound. Hoover Police Respond After Carlee Russell Found Safe Alive." And this one here, let's see, if we flip over to this one. And we posted about this on our fan page, the African History Network, as well, hoping she was found alive and came home safely. She has been, she did return home. According to one report that I read, she was dropped off. This article here, "We wanted her to come home safe and sound. Hoover Police Respond After Carlee Russell Found Safe Alive." Here's a picture of her as well. Okay, so millions of people across the country were praying for her safe return. The woman, Carlee Russell, showed up at her family's front door Saturday night, said Nicholas Dursis, who is the Hoover police chief there in Hoover, Alabama. Police Chief Dursis said he was not sure how Carlee Russell got there. Quote, "She walked up, banged on the door, and that was her," end quote. Now, Carlee Russell's return ended a 48-hour search that grabbed national attention. The circumstances of her sudden disappearance are still unclear as of Sunday morning. The mystery led to hundreds of videos and social media posts from people sharing what they think happened. Police Chief Dursis said, "We work with facts. We work with facts." Quote, "With social media, you got so many people that think they know what's taking place. Right now, we're just very pleased that she's home," end quote. Now, the case started Thursday night when Carlee Russell called 911 to say she saw a child or a toddler on the side of the interstate road in Hoover, Alabama. That call was made around 9:35 p.m. Hoover police said Russell called a family member next and shared the same information. She then pulled over on I-459 South near mile marker 10 to check on the toddler, according to police. The family member that Russell called told police that they could hear Carlee Russell scream before losing contact with her. Officers arrived at the scene a few minutes later and found Carlee Russell's car and some of her stuff nearby. They were unable to locate her or a child. Now, Hoover police also said they received no reports of a missing child. Talitha Russell, Carlee's mother, said at some point she got out of the car and my daughter-in-law could hear her asking the child if they were okay. The child did not respond, or at least she did not hear her respond. And then she heard our daughter Carlee scream. And from there on, all we could hear was noise, background noise in her phone, which we later found out was noise from the interstate, end quote. Now, in traffic camera video obtained by WBRC Channel 6 out of Alabama, you see the spot on the interstate where Carlee Russell disappeared. The video shows the driver's side door open of a vehicle that is presumed to belong to Carlee Russell. Her mother said her daughter's wig was found near the car along with her phone. The engine was still running when police arrived at the scene. Dozens of volunteers, along with local and federal law enforcement, searched for Carlee Russell during the 48 hours she was missing. Okay. All right. So read the rest of this piece here from WBRC Channel 6 in Hoover, Alabama. We wanted her to come home safe and sound. Hoover police respond after Carlee Russell found safe alive. Okay, so as we get more credible information on this story, we'll give you an update. Okay, let's go quickly to the phone lines. Let's go to PG. Welcome to the African History Network show. Tell us where you're calling from, PG.
Hi, good evening. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Well, it does sound like it's a lot of unanswered questions. One of the questions would be, did she have some kind of falling out with her family? Did she have a falling out with a male, someone that she may have been dating? Did she go out to... It's just unanswered questions, but, you know, a lot of times these young girls are going out to meet people that they met on dating apps, on Facebook, and they are coming up missing. These girls are sometimes being subjected to gun violence, domestic violence, and physical abuse.
Yeah, that's true, but we don't have any indication that's the case here. We don't have any indication that that's the case here.
Hello?
I'm here. I said we don't have any indication that that is the case here.
That there is some kind of domestic violence?
We don't have any indication that domestic violence is involved with this. She's 25, unmarried. Okay. We don't have any indication of that. Okay. We want to let the facts play out. All right. You have anything quickly before we come up on the break?
Yes, I would like to, if you would allow me to share with your listeners that on Monday, July 31st from 5:30 to 8:30, the Southfield Police Chief and the Farmington Hills Police Chief are collaborating to present a town hall study session about violence. And the question they're asking is it possible to reduce gun violence? If so, what is the solution and how do we accomplish it? The Pavilion Center is located inside of City Hall, City of Southfield, 26,000 Evergreen Road. And if they want more information, they can reach me at 248-832-2799. 248-832-2799. And I thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Take care. Thanks for calling. Okay. Okay. I want to go to this next story before we go to break. Okay. So Evanston, Illinois. Evanston was in the news back in 2019. And Evanston, Illinois was the first city to announce that it was going to issue any type of reparations to African Americans. Okay. Now, when this announcement was made, you had a lot of reparations reactionaries that don't read, who jumped on, who were attacking this program coming out of Evanston. Evanston, Illinois is a city of about 60,000 people. At the time the announcement was made back in 2019, the population of African Americans was about 16%. Now the population is about 14%. Okay. It's a very, very small town. There's an article from Newsweek.com, and we discussed this on Roland Martin Unfiltered also. So when we come back from the break, I'm going to let you hear this clip. But Black residents start to receive reparations in Illinois. Okay, so this is from Wednesday. This article is from Wednesday, July 12th, 2023. Okay, Evanston, Illinois has become the first city in the U.S. to deliver on its promise of paying reparations to Black residents. The city committed in 2019 to spend $10 million over 10 years on local reparations. $10 million over 10 years on local reparations. 2 years later, it approved a program to give eligible Black residents $25,000 housing grants for down payments, repairs, or existing mortgages. $25,000 $25,000 housing grants for down payments, repairs, or existing mortgages in an effort to atone for the city's past racist housing policies. So this is dealing with repairing the damage of housing discrimination, which Evanston has a deep history of. Evanston does not have a history of slavery. So they're not going to do reparations for slavery, because Evanston, Illinois was the state of Illinois abolished slavery in 1818, and Evanston, Illinois was founded in the 1840s. Okay, Evanston, Illinois does not have a history of slavery. And one of the first things that people have to understand, this is something that I've been explaining to people here in Detroit, when you have reparations at the local level, the cities and even the states, they're not going to do reparations, generally speaking, for what the federal government did. They're not going to do reparations for slavery that was sanctioned by the federal government. They're going to address what the city was responsible, the harm the city was responsible in inflicting based upon their laws and policies, or what the state was responsible for inflicting. The city, especially the city, but even at the state level, they don't have the resources, generally speaking, to repair the damage that the federal government did. We'll continue this on the other side of the break. We spoke with Rue Simmons, former councilwoman, former alderwoman there in Evanston, Illinois. We spoke with her on Roland Martin Unfiltered to let you hear that conversation when we come back from the break. Back from break in 4 minutes. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. How's everybody doing? Back from break in 2 minutes. Stand by. Back from break in 1 minute.
The Superstation, Detroit's only African-American talk radio. great programming is what you want, 9:10 a.m. is what you need.
I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. On the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. A lot of people don't know what the hell they're talking about. Then they have an area of expertise. But some people need to learn how to stay in their own lane. If you don't know, just say you don't know. So we have a lot to talk about, so we're going to jump right into this.
Catch it all right here on 9:10 a.m. Superstation.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation. Okay, visit our website, TheAHNShow.com, TheAHNShow.com. You can register for the 12-week online history course that I teach on Saturdays. It's Saturdays, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have the information right on the homepage of our website. We deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have book references, articles, video clips. Our next class will be Saturday, July 22nd, 2023. And if you missed this past Saturday's class, the Saturday, July 15th class, as soon as you register, you can watch it. Just click right here, register for full 12-week online course. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch them anytime, okay? And we have book references, articles, video clips. There's about 80 articles, 80 to 100 articles that we reference. And you will never look at history the same way again. All right, so if you want to support the African History Network, this is one of the ways you can do it. Also, we have our PayPal and Cash App information around the homepage of our website. This helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting, pay some of the bills, etc. When you scroll down, you'll see it. We have the PayPal Cash App link here, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App. Also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. All right. I want to go back to this article here. We'll be talking about Evanston, Illinois, right before the break. Evanston, Illinois in 2019 made news as the first U.S. city that was going to pay reparations to African Americans for as a result of housing discrimination, as a result of racism, discrimination, etc. If we go back to this article, MSN.com has this piece here. Okay, so the city committed in 2019 to spend $10 million, over 10 years on local reparations. 2 years later, it approved a program, and it approved a program to give eligible Black residents $25,000 housing grants for down payments, repairs, or existing mortgages in an effort to atone for the city's past racist housing policies. Now, Evanston's program is being funded through revenue from a 3% tax on the sale of recreational marijuana, and a real estate transfer tax on properties worth over $1 million when they are sold. City officials said $1.18 million in revenue has been generated so far, the Evanston Roundtable reported. Now, federal reparations efforts have stalled for decades, but the reckoning over racial injustice following the police killing of George Floyd in 2020 revived interest in reparations across the country. Okay, so we discussed this on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday, July 14th, and we discussed this with Rue Simmons, who was the councilwoman, the alderwoman who spearheaded this effort in Evanston, Illinois. Let's go to clip number 4, please, Doug.
Now say we're going to spend $10 million over 10 years to Black residents there. The program will provide upwards of $25,000 housing grants for down payments, repairs of existing mortgages to atone for the city's past racial policies. Joining us right now is Rue Simmons. She's the founder, executive director of First Repair from Evanston. So, Robin, this is now started.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Roland, for having me. The program or the commitment to reparations has actually been implemented. Disbursements have happened. I want to add that in 2019, we did commit to seeding the work with $10 million initially from our recreational cannabis sales tax. And since then, we've added an additional $10 million from real estate transfer tax and are looking for additional revenue streams, as well as additional forms of repair, different remedies to implement. But to date, we have begun dispersing the $25,000 direct benefit to build wealth through home equity, as well as recently expanding our program to include tax benefits as an option. So over the last month that this has been an option, we have had more of our recipients select a cash benefit for their reparations.
What has been the response of residents? Do you have folks, granted the city council passed this, do you have folks who are opposing this who still find this to be a bad idea with taxpayer funds?
Well, I'll say we have broad support in the city. The initial legislation passed in 2019 with an 8-1 vote. Future votes have passed either unanimously or 8-1. And you're never going to have 100% support. So we have some residents that early on felt very strongly that only cash is an appropriate form of repair. We have made that adjustment. And we have few that have spoken publicly about their disagreement to advance reparations with taxpayer dollars. But we do know that thought is out there. Overwhelmingly, we have support in our city from the allied community, of course, from the Black community to advance reparations. There is more question about forms of repair, urgency, amount, and so on. So we continue to work through the complicated process to implement reparations in Evanston.
What do you make of folks like Sandy Darity, who claims that what you're doing there in Evanston, it's not reparation, you should not be calling it that?
Well, Sandy has an opinion about local reparations. And so it's not just Evanston specifically, but localities that are advancing reparations. I understand he's in disagreement with that only a federal legislation for reparations is appropriate. And it is important to note that in Evanston, as well as now over 100 cities that are advancing a local reparations initiative and even more states, that all of us share the North Star of a federal policy as a necessity for us to get to the full repair, get anywhere close to that number, because localities do not have the capacity to address the harms in Black communities. And we recognize that. So it's pretty much a false debate that local reparations is not reparations. In fact, it is reparations. It is a specific remedy in correlation to a direct harm to the Black community. It is not satisfying the reparations that we demand for the crimes of the transatlantic slave trade and other policies. But it is, in fact, reparations at a local level. It's going to be very different from city to city based on city history, capacity, and the ability to disperse and repair.
Okay. All right. Pause it right there. There's a commercial there. Pick it up at the 1 hour 25 minute mark. Doug, let me see me get that up there. Yeah, pick it up at the 1 hour 25 minute mark, Doug.
That only a federal legislation for reparations is appropriate. And it is important to note that in Evanston, as well as now over 100 cities that are advancing a local reparations initiative and even more states, that all of us share the North Star of a federal policy as a necessity for us to get to the full repair, get anywhere close to that number, because localities do not have the capacity to address the harms in Black communities. And we recognize that. So it's pretty much a false debate that local reparations is not reparations. In fact, it is reparations. It is a specific remedy in correlation to a direct harm to the Black community.
It is not satisfying the reparations that we demand for the crimes of the transatlantic slave trade and other policies. But it is, in fact, reparations at a local level. It's going to be very different from city to city based on city history, capacity, and the ability to disperse and repair.
Well, to your point, there was an Andscape article that was done, and this is what was actually discussed, and the question was asked. And he said, I think they create an obstacle to a federal program because they are insufficient for meeting what we view as a primary goal of a reparations plan, which is to eliminate the racial wealth gap. And it says, we estimate a conservative amount that would be required for Evanston to close the wealth gap for its black residents would be at least $3 billion. The city's annual budget is about $360 million. They have a peculiar plan, which really what we call a housing voucher plan, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so here's a perfect example for me, again. So Evanston makes this decision, and even he says that the city's annual budget is $360 million. But he's come up with $3 billion.
Okay, pause it right there. We'll continue this on the other side of the break. You listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by, back from break in 4 minutes. Back from break in 4 minutes. Stand by, everybody. Give us a thumbs up, give us a heart, give us a like on this broadcast. Back from break in 2 minutes. All right, how's everybody doing? Give us a thumbs up, give us a heart, give us a like on this broadcast. Back from break in 1 minute. You can support the African History Network, $ the AHN show through Cash App and through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. This helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting, pay some of the bills. Looks like I'm at to buy a new audio mixer. I just bought a new laptop in early March 2023. That was $700 for this new laptop that I'm broadcasting on. Stand by.
Is what you need. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. On the African History Network show, we focus on educating the crime and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. A lot of people don't know what the hell they're talking about. Then you have the areas of expertise, but some people need to learn how to stay in their own lane. If you don't know, just say you don't know. So we have a lot to talk about, so we're going to jump right into this. Catch it all right here on 910 AM Superstation.
Welcome back to the African History Network show. All right. We were talking about Evanston, Illinois, actually doing payouts for housing discrimination. It's the reparations program. On Friday, July 14th, we spoke with Rue Simmons, who was the alderwoman who spearheaded this initiative back in 2019 in Evanston, Illinois. Let's go back to this clip, please, Doug.
Very different from city to city based on city history, capacity, and the ability to disperse and repair.
Well, to your point, there was an Landscape article that was done, and this is what was actually discussed, and the question was asked. And he said, I think they create this. He says, I think they create an obstacle to a federal program because they are insufficient for meeting what we view as a primary goal of a reparations plan, which is to eliminate the racial wealth gap. And it says we estimate a conservative amount that would be required for Evanston to close the wealth gap for its black residents will be at least $3 billion. The city's annual budget is about $360 million. They have a peculiar plan, which is really what we call a housing voucher plan, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so here's a perfect example that to me, again, so Evanston makes this decision, and even he says that the city's annual budget is $360 million. But he's come up with $3 billion. Okay, the money got to come from somewhere, right? And so if you have an annual budget of $360 million, and you're saying, well, we think it's going to take $3 billion, that means your budget, you're not going to even generate $3 billion for at least 10 years, right? So,
for an entire budget.
So how in the world? So what? Does the city of Evanston go somewhere to borrow the $3 billion? To give the black folks? And so, and I would think that if you have multiple programs in different cities, that's creating momentum for what you want on the federal level, because right now, ain't no federal program.
That's right. That's right. So here's a couple things. One is that it's only the racial wealth gap that addresses repair. And so we do this work now full time in communities across the nation. Dozens I've been in personally. Black communities are not just looking at a cash benefit only, they're looking at full repair, a comprehensive approach to repair, which includes access to housing, business, education, health, police reform, clean air, and so on. We're looking for full repair under the 5 components of reparations. So first of all. Secondly, it is not only localities that are responsible for the harm. The conversation of reparations in contemporary history in 1989, Rep. John Conyers introduced H.R. 40. It languished in Congress. But that doesn't mean that localities don't take a first tangible step in doing what they can do what is possible. And we have seen, as you have just stated, Roland, that momentum has happened. In 2019, it was only Evanston. Today, there are over 100 cities. In 2019, it was only 65 co-sponsors in the House for H.R. 40, and the last Congress ended with 219 co-sponsors and yes votes for H.R. 40, a Senate companion bill, hundreds of allied organizations that support reparations, and more momentum. The movement is being professionalized by foundations that are providing resources, funding, and other technical assistance so that we can get to liberation and repair in the Black community. So again, I just simply think it's a false debate to say that local reparations is not reparations. I do agree that local reparations alone is insufficient. And that's why I am encouraging that it's not just states are municipalities, it's now states. Look at the great work that's happening in California, the great work that's been introduced in the state of New York and Massachusetts. We see counties beginning to have the conversation on reparations, more and more institutions and industries. The academy has joined the case for reparations. And so like any other important public policy, federal public policy, when you think about school desegregation and fair housing and marriage equality and ban the box and even cannabis now being a federal accommodation, it starts with a local spark, a grassroots leader, a municipal law, a state action, and then we get to a federal policy. And so I'm just encouraged and stand with all the other local leaders, stand with those that are working on local initiatives, that we are making progress. And in Evanston, we are dispersing reparations.
Michael. Hey, Robin. Good to see you again.
Hey, how
Congratulations.
You?
I'm all right.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the documentary. For those that don't know, I interviewed Robin 2 years ago on the African History Network show. So it's great that this is paying out. Hey, when we talk, one of the things we talked about is how Evanston, Illinois did not have a history of slavery. And there were so many reparations reactionaries out here attacking what you were doing and what the city council was doing. Can you talk some about that, why you chose the housing vouchers as opposed to quote-unquote reparations for slavery? And then also there was a 70-page study that was produced that preceded the recommendations, the policies that you all did. Talk about why was that 70-page study? Because you have so many hashtag cut the check people out here saying we don't need a study, just cut the check. Can you address that, please?
Absolutely. So first of all, it's important to note that one of the most important practices of reparations is that the harm community, the Black community, is really prescribing what redress looks like. And it's important to know that the Evanston Black community went through a process in 2019 where we heard and by consensus move forward with prioritizing housing. Now, as you mentioned, that report complemented the demand from the community. The report was done by Shorefront Legacy Center, led by Dino Robinson and his colleagues, and it showed anti-Black housing practices, zoning laws, housing policy that is responsible for stripping away wealth and opportunity in Black Evanston and is responsible for our current racial segregation today. I lived in the west end of the 5th Ward. I served as councilwoman here for 4 years. It's still the most concentrated Black community. Also, most concentrated disinvestment in everything. Least community amenities, no neighborhood school, no walkable access to healthy foods, air quality issues, deteriorating housing stock. The list goes on, and our story in Evanston is like every other city in America, and that's why local reparations. But thirdly, it's important to know that this is not a slavery reparation.
Pause right there, Doug. Okay, we're out of time here. Those watching on Facebook and YouTube, stop the clip. Those watching on Facebook and YouTube, keep watching our fan page, The African History Network, on my YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. We're going to keep going for a few minutes. We're out of time here. Visit our website, TheAFricanHistoryNetwork.com. Register for my online classes. Right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you next week. Peace. All right, stand by. Let's go. Let's continue this clip here. Let's continue this segment. All right, here we go. About why was that 70-page study? Because you have so many hashtag cut the check people out here saying we don't need a study, just cut the check. Can you address that, please?
Absolutely. So first of all, it's important to know that one of the most important practices of reparations is that the harm community, the Black community, is really prescribing what redress looks like. And it's important to know that the Evanston Black community went through a process in 2019 where we heard and by consensus moved forward with prioritizing housing. Now, as you mentioned, that report complemented the demand from the community. The report was done by Shorefront Legacy Center, led by Dino Robinson and his colleagues, and it showed anti-Black housing practices, zoning laws, housing policy that is responsible for stripping away wealth and opportunity in Black Evanston and is responsible for our current racial segregation today. I live in the west end of the 5th Ward. I served as councilwoman here for 4 years. It's still the most concentrated Black community, also most concentrated disinvestment in everything, least community amenities, no neighborhood school, no walkable access to healthy foods, air quality issues, deteriorating housing stocks. The list goes on, and our story in Evanston is like every other city in America, and that's why local reparations. But thirdly, it's important to know that this is not a slavery reparations. This is not to compete with the demands for HR 40. This is specific to the business and anti-Blackness of Evanston. And our legal counsel, our corporation counsel, Nick Cummings, and his supporters and his partners, including Professor Justin Hansford from Thurgood Marshall School at Howard Law School, came up with a legal framework, one that was viable, so that we could move past just the demand and the case for reparation, which we've been stuck in for so long, and get into implementation and disbursement. And so that legal framework was really key in us having a strong case, one that was withstand legal challenges, which we've had from conservative groups from outside of Evanston, from Texas and DC. They have tried to challenge our work, but our work is very thoughtful, it's very smart, it's careful, it's narrowly tailored. It includes a home rule municipality. We're using home rule taxes, so we're not using federal dollars that are being passed down and have to deal with blocks from other courts outside of Evanston. We are leading within our values. It is possible for other localities to do the same, and that's how we got to housing. In a long story, that's how we got to housing. The community informed it and prescribed it. The case for reparations was rooted in housing, and the legal framework supported a remedy in direct correlation to the harm, which in the case of Evanston is largely based on housing.
All right, thank you. All right.
Matt?
Yeah, so Robin, thanks for joining.
So that was a really good interview we did with Robin Rue Simmons. I told her I want to interview her again on the African History Network show. So I have to set up that interview with her. All right. Also, check out this piece here from CNN.com. Evanston City Council votes in favor of expanding its reparations program to repair housing discrimination. Now, this is from March 28th, 2023. You heard her talk about them structuring the reparations legally to withstand a legal challenge, because legal challenges are going to happen. And a lot of these, you have a lot of reparations reactionaries out here with a bunch of nonsense. A lot of this stuff is not going to go anywhere. But when you have something like this is doable, is being implemented. And one of the things that Roland talked about, he talked about the article from Andscape, and the analysis said that the annual budget of Evanston, Illinois, the annual city budget is $360 million. But the economists have said it's going to take $3 billion to repair the damage that's happened to African Americans in Evanston. Where's the $3 billion going to come from if your annual budget is $360 million? Evanston is a small city. Is a suburb of Chicago. It has a population of about 60,000 people, majority white. Population of African Americans now is about 14%. If your annual budget is $360 million, and you estimate it's going to take $3 billion to repair the damage that's been done to African Americans, where's the $3 billion going to come from? So it's good to have all these economists that throw these numbers out and do all these calculations. But it doesn't matter how much you think you're owed. The only thing that matters is what you can actually collect and what you can keep after you get sued to take away what you collect. That's why a lot of this, that's why a lot, it's the same thing I said when we dealt with San Francisco and their reparations task force. Okay. And you had a group who said that African Americans should get, every African American in San Francisco, city of San Francisco, should get $5 million. They didn't have, it wasn't based upon any calculation, wasn't based upon any analysis. It's just a number they pulled out the air. Now, as we said before, California does not have a real history of slavery. California comes into the Union as a state in 1850, and about 15, and when they come into the Union, they come in as a free state. Okay, so about 1,500 people have been identified as being in some type of semi-slave state or something like that in California. Okay, California is not Texas. All right, in Texas in 1865, you had 250,000 enslaved Africans. California is not Texas. California is not Alabama, Mississippi, or Georgia, anything like that. So, so they said $5 million. Okay, if there are approximately 50,000 African Americans in San Francisco, if 20,000 of the 50,000 qualify for the $5 million, that's $100 billion. That would be $100 billion. The annual budget of the city of San Francisco is $14 billion. That's 7 times the annual budget. How you going to do that? That's 7 times the annual budget of the city of San Francisco. It doesn't matter how much you think that you're owed. The only thing that really matters is what you can collect, number one. Number two, what you can keep after you get sued to take away what you collect, because lawsuits are coming. And it's quite possible that a reparations case could go before this 6-3 conservative U.S. Supreme Court. When we look at the 28-page executive summary coming from the California Reparations Task Force, and I encourage everybody to read at least the 28-page executive summary. They just released the 1,100-page final report with recommendations, and about 115 recommendations, policy recommendations to repair the damage of racism's housing discrimination, redlining, school segregation, voter suppression, over policing, mass incarceration, etc., in the state of California. On page 3 of the 28-page executive summary, it says, so if we back up, it says, despite California entering the Union in 1850 as a free state, its early state government supported slavery. Pro-slavery white Southerners held a great deal of power in the state legislature, the court system, and among California's representatives in the U.S. Congress. Now, he goes on to say, at the top of the page, let's see here, next column, let's see, where are we? Right here. Historians have, let's see. Where is that? I want page 3. It talks about historians have found evidence. Some scholars estimate that up to 1,500 enslaved African Americans lived in California in 1852. Up to 1,500. Enslaved people trafficked to California often worked under dangerous conditions, lived in unclean environments, and faced brutal violence. Okay, so read the rest of this here. In 1852, California passed and enforced a fugitive slave law that was harsher than the federal fugitive slave law, and this made California a more pro-slavery state than most other free states. California also outlawed non-white people from testifying in any court case involving white people. Okay, California also tried to ban free African Americans when they came into the Union in 1850. They tried to ban free African Americans as well under their first governor, Peter Burnett, who also was the governor of Oregon. And they banned free African Americans in Oregon with their black exclusion laws of 1844. All right. So check this out here. Okay. So this deals with why a lot of this stuff dealing with reparations I don't get involved in because it doesn't make any sense. Okay. If your annual budget is $360 million, okay, then you saying it's going to take $3 billion to repair the damage. Where's the money going to come from? So you can come up with these numbers as much as you want to. It doesn't matter how much you think you're owed. The only thing that matters is what you can collect, and then what you can keep after you get sued to take away what you collected. Okay, now I want to go to this last story here because we run out of time. We had a lot of calls tonight, and we're going to do a part 2 next week because there's still some research I want to do on this. I've done the research before, but some of the information has changed. But let's look at this story here from Vibe magazine, vibe.com. This deals with Ice Cube, hip-hop artist Ice Cube. Hip-hop artist and entrepreneur, director, music mogul, Ice Cube. Ice Cube claims American record labels encourage criminal activity. This is an article from Thursday, July 13th. Thursday, July 13th from Vibe magazine. Ice Cube claims American record labels encourage criminal activity. The rapper delved into the connection between record labels and prisons. Now, this is something I've been talking about for years, and I dealt with this in my lecture series of The Media's Deliberate Destruction of the African American Family. And then also when I was dealing with the prison industrial complex, I did a lecture called Slavery's Back in Effect, and dealt with the prison industrial complex. Okay, in this article, it says Ice Cube accused American record labels of encouraging criminal activity during a discussion with Bill Maher, with Bill Maher's Club Random podcast. The West Coast icon spoke about the dangerous social engineering that record labels conduct. Now, you've heard me say whatever is disseminated becomes imitated. I've told you all this is programming. I have a background in marketing. My degree's in business administration with a major in marketing. I'm a historian, but I also have a business degree as well. I also used to work at one of the top radio stations here in Detroit, like over 20 years ago. Okay. So here is Ice Cube, former member of NWA. Okay. And he's talking about social engineering. Ice Cube told Bill Maher that the proof can be found when you follow the money. Ice Cube then elaborated on his ominous claim, saying that following the money will show that some owners of record labels also own prisons. He said, who benefits and profits off of our bickering and division. The outspoken figure questioned, quote, I don't know their names, but if you follow the money, you go high enough, you start to see literally the same people who own the record labels own the prisons. Okay, he said, I don't know their names, but if you follow the money, you go high enough, you start to see literally the same people who own the record labels own the prisons. All right, now, and then he said, it seems really kind of suspicious if you want to say that word, that records that come out are really geared to push people towards the prison industry. Okay. Now, I've talked about this before, and this is why I understand the programming. Okay. This is why you heard me talk about negative corporate control hip hop. You heard me talk about Megan Thee Stallion's performance and explicit lyrics at this year's Essence Festival, July 4th. Okay. Because I watched it. It was broadcasted on Hulu Live. Okay. So, I watched it. I watched a lot of it. There's a, let me see here. Let me go to this just a second here. There is a, when we look at Corrections Corporation of America, CCA, Corrections Corporation of America, they're the largest owner operator of privatized prisons in the country. Okay. And there's a link I want to click on here. Okay. What is this here? I've looked at this information before. So if we look at Yahoo Finance, and we look at a company called Core Civic. Okay. Core Civic is a publicly traded company. Core Civic used to be Corrections Corporation of America, and they are the largest owner of privatized prisons, pretty much the largest owner of privatized prisons in the country. You have Core Civic, you have Geo Group, and G4S, I think is the other one. Sometimes they change their names. Core Civic used to be called Corrections Corporation of America, CCA. Okay. But Core Civic is the largest owner-operator of privatized prisons. They are a publicly traded stock on the New York Stock Exchange. Their stock exchange symbol is CXW. Okay. So when we go here and look at this, we can look at a summary of it. At Yahoo Finance, we can look at a summary of the stock. We can look at their performance for the past 12 months. But with these companies, we want to look at where is it? I want to look at holders right here. Holders. This shows the major stakeholders in these companies. Okay. If you look here, top institutional holders, you're going to see some of the same names come up, and some of these names are going to be major holders in media companies. Okay. BlackRock and Vanguard Group Inc. BlackRock and Vanguard Group Inc. Okay. Now, when I did my research years ago, Vanguard Group Inc., they were major holders of Viacom as well as Time Warner, if I remember correctly. Now, Viacom was publicly traded. Viacom owned CBS. Now it's a private company, so I can't see who are the major holders. Okay. But in Corrections Corporation of America, BlackRock Inc. owns 18,939,000 shares. Okay, 18,939,000 shares. Vanguard Group Inc. is the number 2 shareholder in Corrections Corporation of America. They own 12.7 million shares. All right, now let's look at this here. Let's look at AT&T. Okay, let's look at AT&T at Yahoo Finance. All right, next week we'll get deeper into this. We'll look at all the companies. I don't have time to get into it right now. I had to do more research. I had to research these other 3 or 4 topics that we were dealing with on today's show. All these topics I have to go through and research and read articles on them, so I know what I'm talking about. Okay, but let's look at AT&T Inc. AT&T is a publicly traded stock. Okay, it's traded on the New York Stock Exchange. Its stock exchange symbol is T. Okay, so when we click right here on summary, it gives you a summary of the stock. You can look at their 12-month performance. All right. And then you can go through and you can look at a profile of them. And under the profile, it tells you the different types of businesses that they are in. Okay, so AT&T Inc. It's in communications. Okay, cell phones, things like this is in communications, high-speed internet. It breaks all this down. Now you click right here on these 3 dots, these 3 horizontal dots. You want to look at, for all these companies, you want to look at holders. Holders. This tells you the major investors in the country, who owns the majority of the shares. What are the 2 companies that we see? The Vanguard Group Inc. owns 614,928,500 shares of AT&T, and that's a value of $8.9 billion. $8.9 billion. BlackRock Inc. owns 523,127,988 shares. Okay, as of today, July 16th. All right. Now, if we look at, I have to deal with I have to go back and look at the media companies, because back in probably about 2015, when I did my lecture dealing with slavery's back in effect, it was right around that time. Slavery's back in effect. 2 of the 6 major media companies that some estimates are control about 90% of what you read, see, and hear. Vanguard Group Inc. was one of the top 3 major shareholders in 2 of the 6 major media corporations. Okay. Now, the Vanguard Group, hold on just a second. I've got my information on the Vanguard Group right here. Okay. Now, this is information on the Vanguard Group, and this is from their website, and it talks about their investment in Core Civic, okay, which is the largest owner-operator of privatized prisons in the country. We've got this here. Okay, so this deals with analysis annual report. Okay, this is from Vanguard's website, vanguard.com, Core Civic Inc., New York Stock Exchange, symbol CXW. Okay. And then, okay, let's see. Let's look at overview. Core Civic. Okay, so they give you the breakdown. Core Civic traded at $9.36 the last time it traded on July 14th, because the market closes at 4 p.m. Okay. So then it gives you information on Core Civic. Core Civic Inc. operates as a government solutions company which engages in the development and management of prisons and other correctional facilities, the development and management of prisons and other correctional facilities. It operates through the following segments: safety, community, and properties. The safety segment consists of correctional and detention facilities. It provides transportation services to government agencies and TransCorp. The community segment offers residential reentry centers and provides electronic monitoring case management services. The properties segment consists of real estate properties owned by the company and that are leased to government agencies. The company was founded by Thomas W. Beasley, T. Don Hutto, Hutto, and Robert Krantz on January 28, 1983, and headquartered in Brentwood, Tennessee. Okay, so it gives you background information here on these companies. Okay, now here's something interesting that happened. And this is one of the reasons why I was warning people that Donald Trump had to be stopped in 2016 when he was running for president. Okay. So when President Barack Obama was in office, there was an announcement that came from the Department of Justice. All right. And the Obama administration announced that it was not going to renew contracts. It was not going to renew contracts that it was not going to renew contracts with privatized prisons. Okay. It was not going to renew contracts with privatized prisons. The day this news came out, the stock price of privatized prisons took a big hit. And Corrections Corporation of America, or Court Civic, was one of them that took a big hit. And if we look at this here, let's look at, let me see, which article is that? Okay, let's look at, let's look at this one here. So Donald Trump, when he was running for president in 2016, he said privatized prisons seem to work very well. They seem to save money. Okay. He supported privatized prisons. When he gets in office, he reverses the initiative from the Obama administration and reinstitutes the usage of privatized prisons at the federal level. So when we look at this article here from CNN Business, CNN.com, let's go to this article here, CNN Business. Now, this is, what's the date on this one? This is from February 24th, 2017. This is the month after the trader-in-chief was sworn into office. Private prison stocks up 100% since Trump's win. I wonder why. Private prison stocks up 100% since Trump's win. Corrections Corporation of America and Geo Group and G4S, they donated almost $600,000 to Donald Trump's campaign. Okay. When he becomes president through the Electoral College, because most people don't understand how the Electoral College works. If we did, we would have stopped his ass. We would have voted and stopped him. This is why it's important to read the U.S. Constitution. They ended up, like Core Civic and these other ones, they ended up getting lucrative government contracts to house migrants coming into the country through the southern border. Thanks to President Donald Trump, America's private prisons appear to be entering a gold age. The stocks of two of the biggest private prison operators, Core Civic, which the Vanguard Group Inc. is one of the two top shareholders of, Core Civic formerly known as Corrections Corporation of America, and Geo Group, have doubled since the stock prices of these two corporations have doubled since election day when Trump was voted in, when Trump became president. Okay. Core Civic, their stock exchange symbol on the New York Stock Exchange, CXW, is up 140% since Trump won in November. Geo Group has risen 98%. For all the talk about how good Trump has been for big banks like Goldman Sachs, he's been even better for private prison investors, okay, like the Vanguard Group Inc. The reason private prisons are back in vogue is simple. Donald Trump has made sweeping promises. He's made sweeping promises to crack down on crime and illegal immigration. Wall Street calculated quickly that Trump's rhetoric is likely to translate into more people behind bars. And that means more profits for private prisons. Like they financially backed Donald Trump. They donated almost $600,000 to his 2016 campaign. Okay, so they said we're getting really bad dudes out this country. How's it why didn't you get the criminals that Donald Trump gave pardons to? Why didn't you get them out the country? Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, okay, and then Stephen K. Bannon, he didn't get a pardon, okay, but he did get convicted for contempt of court. Why didn't you get all these really bad people around Trump? Why didn't you get them out of the country? Wall Street expects prisons to get the biggest boost, private prisons, get the biggest boost from Trump's plans to deport illegal immigrants. Okay, both Core Civic and Geo Group have several thousand beds currently available that could be used for undocumented immigrants. Okay, now they got lucrative contracts. Okay, let me back up. So if we look at this, other piece here from this is from Yahoo News. Now this is from February 23rd, 2017. The article from CNN was from February 24th, 2017. Okay, this is from Reuters, picked up by Yahoo News. Now this was under Donald Trump's first attorney general. And this is something I warn people about. You had all these people that don't understand politics, thought this was just about Trump versus Hillary. There were about 4,000 positions in Trump's administration that he had to fill. Okay. This article right here, U.S. reverses Obama era move to phase out private prisons. This is how elections have consequences. Now, this is Jeff Sessions, Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III, Trump's first attorney general. The U.S. Justice Department has reversed an order by the Obama administration to phase out the use of private contractors to run federal prisons. In a memo, let me scroll over here just a second. In a memo made public on Thursday, Attorney General Jeff Sessions said the Obama policy impaired the government's ability to meet the future needs of the federal prison system. The Obama administration said in August 2016, it planned to gradually phase out private prisons by letting contracts expire or by scaling them back to a level consistent with recent declines in the U.S. prison population. Because the U.S. prison population declined each year that President Obama was in office, and privatized prisons were losing money under the Obama administration. At the federal level, in 2013, under Attorney General Eric Holder, he implemented his Smart on Crime initiative. So they backed off of charging low-level nonviolent drug offenders with the longest, harshest sentences. Privatized prisons were losing money under the Obama administration. This is why they supported Trump, because Trump was for privatized prisons, and he rewarded them after he became president. It said privately owned. Okay, so scaling them back to a level consistent with recent declines in the U.S. prison population. It said privately operated prisons were less safe and a poor substitute for government-run facilities. Quote, the Obama administration memorandum changed long-standing policy and practice and impaired the Bureau's ability to meet the future needs of the federal correctional system. Therefore, I direct, this is Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III, who also cheered the gutting of the 1965 Voting Rights Act because he's a white supremacist. He's a former senator from Alabama. Alabama was ground zero for the Voting Rights Act of 1965, the Selma to Montgomery March, and Bloody Sunday, all of that. Okay, all of that history. Okay, so shares of the two leading U.S. private prison companies gained in after-hours trading with Geo Group Inc. up 2.15%, and Core Civic up 3.44%. This is after the news was made, but their stock prices were going to shoot up. Okay, like the next day or so. 13 of the federal government's 146 prisons are privately run. Together, those 13 private prisons house 22,600 inmates as of December 2015, down from about 40,000 in 2014. Okay, so read the rest of this article here. U.S. reverses Obama-era move to phase out private prisons. All right, now, there was let me see something here. Yeah, okay, this right here. Because I got a ton of articles on this stuff, man. I'm going through just looking at stuff I have archived because I have a ton of information on this. But we're only going to be here for a few more minutes. Oh, I didn't realize it was that late. We're going to be here for a few more minutes. I had to get out of here. This one right here. See, this is what I warn people about. You had a lot of these woke ass progressives out here, like Dr. Eddie Glaude, who sat up on MSNBC, told people vote for everything except president. Okay, how stupid can you be? Okay, now, do you remember in I think it was 2017, that Donald Trump was going to have some meeting or something at Doral, one of his golf resorts. Okay. I forgot exactly what it was. I forgot which meeting it was. Look at this right here. Washington Post. Private prison giant resurgent in Trump era gathers at president's resort. October 25th, 2017. Now, it's February 2017 that Donald Trump's Attorney General Jeff Sessions announces that they're going to reverse the Obama era policy to phase out private prisons at the federal level. Now the private prison owners are meeting at Trump's resort. Private prison giant resurgent in Trump era gathers at president's resort. October 25th, 2017, Washington Post by Amy Britton and Drew Harrell, Harwell. Doral, Florida. In recent years, the private prison company Geo Group has held its annual leadership conference at venues near its Boca Raton headquarters. But this year, 2017, the company moved its gathering to a Miami area golf resort owned by Sugar Daddy Donald Trump because he helped them make over $1 billion. He helped them make a lot of money. Okay, so they are going to hold their their annual leadership conference at Donald Trump's resort in Doral. The event last week, during which executives and wardens gathered for 4 days of meetings, dinner receptions, and golf outings. I don't know how much money the call girls made there. Who knows? May have been able to retire. I don't know. Dinner receptions and golf outings at the luxurious 800-acre Trump National Doral follow an intense effort by Geo Group to align itself. With the president and his administration. During last year's election, the 2016 election, a company subsidiary gave $225,000 to a pro-Trump super PAC. Geo Group gave an additional $250,000 to the president's inaugural committee. It also hired an outside lobbyist, a major Trump fundraiser, and 2 former aides to Attorney General Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III, one of the president's most prominent campaign backers. Geo Group, meanwhile, has had newfound success in Donald Trump's Washington, because Donald Trump didn't drain the swamp. He became the swamp thing. The company Geo Group secured the administration's first contract for an immigration detention center. Geo Group secured the Trump administration's first contract for an immigration detention center, a deal worth tens of millions of dollars a year. And Geo Group's stock price has tripled since hitting a low last year in 2016, when the Obama administration sought to phase out the use of private prisons. A decision that Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III, Donald Trump's first attorney general, reversed. This is what I was explaining to these simple Simon asses out here who don't understand politics. Okay? Don't deal with none of this. Just jump on headlines. I was explaining this to them, what was at stake in 2016. Okay? And they wanted to deal with BS. We can't make that same mistake in 2014. All this is at stake. This is what happens when you don't read. Okay? Now, I was talking about this in 2016. I was talking about this in 2015. I was dealing with the private prisons and ALEC, American Legislative Exchange Council, which is an organization that connects corporate America to state politicians, state level politicians and governors and things like this to shape policy at the state level. We'll talk about this some more next week. Okay, look, hey, if you learned anything from today's show, you like this type of information, please support the African History Network. You can do it a few ways. $, the AHN show through Cash App, $, the AHN show through Cash App, or through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. This helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, buy equipment, because I think I'm going to have to buy a new audio mixer. Because I run all this through, the microphone doesn't plug right into the laptop. All this runs through an audio mixer because I have to connect to the radio station in Southfield, Michigan. I'm in Detroit. They're in Southfield, Michigan. I have to connect to the radio station, and then we run the audio clips, all that stuff, run that through the mixer. But this helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting, pay some of the bills, pay for these different services I use. Like right now, I'm broadcasting through Restream, which allows me to broadcast through YouTube, my YouTube channel, Facebook pages, all that at the same time, in the archives broadcast as well. Okay. And we have the information on the homepage of our website, TheAfricanHistoryNetwork.com, TheAfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Also, please register for the 12-week online history class that I teach. Is a fantastic bargain. We do thousands of years of history. We do what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. We study the transatlantic slave trade as well. I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have book references, articles, video clips, all of that. It's a very visual class. It's on sale. It's only $80, regularly $130. And even after the course is over with, you still have full access to the class. You can go back and watch it as much as you want to. Okay, so that doesn't expire. We have a class preview right here. And we dealt with Sarah Bartman. That's only one of the things, one of the topics we talked about. Dink Nash, Lucy, 3.2 million years old, Australopithecus afarensis. We talked about Bastet, the film Black Panther, all of that. Okay, so register for this class right now. As soon as you register, you can start watching the content. Okay, so just click right here, register for full 12-week course. And when you click on that link, it takes you to the next page. Takes you right here. And then just click on enroll. And it says $80. And it enrolls you in the full course. There's also, you get 5 free lectures from me in our video library that you can stream as well. Okay. And then the information, then we have the Cash App PayPal information that is on the, when you scroll down the website, because I moved the location of it. I moved the information for the classes up higher on the website. But when you scroll down, we have the Cash App PayPal information here. Okay. And this is our Cash App account, $ the AHN show through Cash App. We have the link right here. When you go to it, it says Michael. Here's our QR code. Our Cash App tag is $ the AHN show, SHOW. All right. So if you want to support us, $10, $15, $25, $50, $100, whatever it is, it definitely helps. This is a lot of work, and this stuff is not. It takes resources to do all of this. Oh, and if you want to, let's see, our next class is Saturday, July 22nd. If you want to do one class session for $10, as opposed to registering for the full course up front, you can do that as well. Email us at ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com, ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com for one class session at $10, and you'll still be able to watch it after the class is over as well. Sometimes, because people have asked me for that, periodically we make that available. I have to set up, I have to go in and create that one class session also. So I have to do that. But I have had people request that. Okay. So if you want that or any other accommodations, if you want to pay through Cash App instead of PayPal or whatever it is, I've also had people ask, can they pay in installments? Can we break this up into 2 payments or 3 payments or 4 payments? So if you have if you want other accommodations, just email me. We'll work that out for you. AHNshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com, or just email me right through the website. At the top of the website under menu, it'll say contact the African History Network. You can email me right there. Okay, look, we have to get out of here. Remember, the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct for own behavior. It's not over till we win Wakanda forever. and we'll talk to you next week. Peace.